could do this.
Hello, everyone. So we are again here talking about our main topic, divorces. And today will be, I would say, one of the hardest topic about divorces, how to forget your ex-partner as ex-husband. And I think that everybody dealing with a huge emotions about this because in one way we want to hate that partner, in other way we still love him and we still care about that person. So this is why we will talk about process of forgetting and what it gives to you as a person in this topic. So I don't know. Let's start from the short experience. Your experience, how you was dealing shortly about your ex-partners to forget them, to delete them from your life.
This is
Paula?
very interesting.
Me first this time. Um, how? I literally made myself to forget because it was so overwhelming, overpowering, and so exhausting. I think we already mentioned that in the previous podcast that when we are in that state of divorce, of hate, when we have been cheated or something bad happened to us, if we have been in an abusive relationships, it's even worse to forget about that. It's always with us, around us, causes stress. So what I literally did, I made myself to start focusing my thoughts on something else. Uh, and I literally had to train my mind to do that. Um, so I said a few things. It cannot be too short. I knew it couldn't be too short because it would be too easy to get back to thinking about what I don't want to think about. So it had to be like minimum 10, 15 seconds. So like a song or a poem or go and do a few push-ups or another exercise. So literally in the moment when I caught myself on thinking about him again, I would just force myself to move my mind on something else. And at the beginning, it was really hard. It was really, really difficult. But with the time, it became a habit. And literally, after some time, I realized that I just don't think about him at all because my mind was so trained that it started just. I think the moment there was anything in the back of my head about him, when I didn't want it to be there and I didn't need it to be there, my mind would literally automatically switch to think about something else. So yeah, I literally trained myself to do that.
Yeah, uh this is such a like a that connection, that noise always bothering. What I did was when in the process, in the beginning of the process, was to disconnect from all the social channels, social medias, to not have any kind of connection, because most of the time that is, you see a different version of things on social media, and it just pops up on your social media. First thing I did was I actually deleted my social media accounts totally together. I didn't want to be involved. That actually helped me. I tried to make my activity less involved with social media. So I was disconnected. I went from digital to non-digital. Like even I had a phone that had a number pad on it, like the old style, for a while. Like I didn't want to have my smartphone at all. I didn't want to see that. Didn't want to check anything, because it was quite disturbing for me. But it's easy. How I see, maybe when forgetting your partner when there is no involvement of children, it would be different. But I cannot say that how it is. But since we have children, I have to deal with my partner no matter what. And that is also challenging, like what I said about distracting yourself with some positive enforcement. Um, I started reading books a lot, which kind of distracted me, as well as finding time myself alone, doing meditation or going for a hiking in nature to cut down not cut down, I would say add additional workouts or hobbies or activities that help me to divert my energy, divert my thoughts, not going back to my partner. Um, of course, it was not easy. Even now, I have to deal with that, um, and I continue practice that. I I think we can avoid I can avoid that I stop thinking about my partner, but there are legal things. There's things that I have to deal with my partner no matter what. So it is going to be always constant, no matter what. Maybe not in every hour of the day, but maybe in a day or maybe a couple of days, I'll have some interactions, some conversations because of the children's involved.
Thank you for sharing. And for me, yes, because with my ex husband, I have children, so I have communication. But I would say now, when my daughters have phones, and I most of the time communicate with them, just with the like time when we share kids, because this is not a by the court order. So this is the thing that we have to deal with by now, but this is the only communication that we're having, and I think that clear boundaries, but we will talk about that later, really helped. But of course, for me, it was the first thing what I did. I blocked all the social media. I blocked him, that he cannot see me, and that I cannot see him also. So this was the first move when I decided to go through the divorces, because I don't want to see, because when you look deeply, with all the messages pop up on your screen, happiness hormones, dopamine is coming, and it's connecting with that person that really hurt you. And this is where we have a lot of misunderstanding inside of us. And I know that you are out of there, so we are like looking from 10 steps in front. But when I'm working with my clients, what they are asking, and maybe you will share that they at the beginning of the divorces, you want that last conversation from that person to explain somehow, like to end that, to get all the answers, what happened, why you did that, or why we cannot be together, why you cannot change yourself. And that this is what I realize from my clients. This is the main seed that continue communicating with your ex-partner.
Yeah,
Um,
that is something. Paula, you want to share something?
you can go ahead. I can go after.
Yeah, that what you just mentioned about is to finding the answers, those conversations that you always wanted to have, like the last conversations. Yes, why this happened? Why this? That there is so many questions when a relationship ends. It's not like that the relationship end in a day and it's done, but you have some unanswered questions, unanswered r- things that you wanted to find answers for, and it doesn't happen. And it's okay to those uh, um, let those questions to be not to be answered, because that's not going to fulfill any kind of um, satisfactions to your to whatever thoughts going on. But at the same time, it's going to bother more if you don't get the answers. So we don't need to find any answers. It's even if we find the answers, there is never going to be a uh, healthy way to disconnect that relationship. It's not possible. And it's better not to dig to those questions ever, because those answers, whatever the answers, it's not going to satisfy what you're looking for. I think I realized that. That is why I wanted to speak about that. Thank you.
That's very true what you said. We want the closure. We want to hear something. And usually when we are looking for those answers, we're looking for something very specific that most likely we are never going to hear. And there are couples who can have that conversation and then can have a very open conversation. And this is absolutely great. But in most of the cases, I would say what you are looking for, what you want to hear, and what you think is going to bring you peace in this whole situation is not going to come. You're not going to hear that. And in many situations, especially after being cheated on, women want to know why. Why? Why did you do that? How was she better than me? What made you do that? Um, I would say most of the cases you're not gonna really hear the answer, and even if you're gonna hear the answer, most likely it's not gonna be the truth. Because can you imagine anything he could say that would make you feel better in a situation like that? Um, because if we think about it, there's not really much that will make us feel better and bring that peace. And what you both said about blocking social media, you were really, really strong to do that. I have to admit that that takes lots of strength, because it's kind of similar. Many women who are still following their ex-partners on social media, um, sometimes they will open even fake accounts to check what's happening there. I noticed they are pretty much lying to themselves, because they say they just want to check, they are looking for something, they don't really know what, they cannot really define what they're looking for. What they're actually looking for is any proof that he is not okay. They want to see that he's also not okay, that he's suffering, and they're not going to find that because nobody's going to go to social media and post how hurt they are and how much they miss their ex that they just cheated on with 15 women or 10 women or 5 women. Um, People tend to show on the social media the best side of themselves. Many times, what we see on social media, what the influencers show us, is not real life. And if you think that you're going to go there and see something again that's going to make you feel better, no, it's not going to be there. And we need that kind of detox. We need that kind of isolation. So I understand that not everyone can completely cut contact with their exes because there are children, there are finances involved, different matters. But what we want to get rid of is that constant noise in our head and then constant addiction to checking what's happening with them, to talking to them, to maybe last text. Because Eraminta mentioned that in the previous podcast, and I think we also discussed it quite a lot. If you're in the relationship, especially if you're in the abusive relationship, there's stress, there's adrenaline. This is addictive. So we are basically on drugs when that whole situation with that all stress is happening. This is our drug, and we're so used to it. When there's another chance to get a little bit of that again, we want to go there and get that. And even if we don't realize the processes we start again in our minds, this is happening. Or to get that feeling of comfort, or to get that feeling of being loved again that we had with our ex-partner 5, 10, or 2 years ago. So we are coming back looking for something in those answers, in those questions, in the social media. And as Self said, it's okay to just leave it like that without getting those answers.
Thank you, Paula. You mentioned a very good thing, and I also, this was my next question, but I will share my experience because At the beginning, when I met my ex-husband, like face to face, I felt, I was thinking that this is excitement, this is that crush, this is that, you know, um, I don't know. Because in my case, in my relationship, there was abuse, very close with the intimacy that mixed absolutely my feelings, where stress and fear were connected with the intimacy, excitement, and all other like satisfaction. So every time when I met my ex-husband, I feel that my body is experiencing mix of those all hormones at once. And just by going through the therapy, my therapist started to analyze and letting me to analyze my body, and I understood that this is not like crush, not wanting to have intimacy with that man, but this is a huge amount of stress. Because when you want a connection with a person, you by meeting him, you're starting to relax. But when you are experiencing abuse, your body feels tension. And that tension you connect, and usually in the abusive relationship, especially in the sexual abuse, physical abuse, and psychological abuse, you feel that very connected with the intimacy. Like usually they use sex to have that connection, especially after abuse, that you will connect with that person and you will feel like that person do something good for you. So that was my question, how you felt when you saw your partner on the social media or in public, because I know I realized that I started to work on November. I remember with my therapist on December. There was a Christmas celebration at the school like event, and I was going there, and my daughter saw that. She was 6 years old, and she said, "Mommy, relax. There will be a lot of people. Daddy won't do anything to you." So she understood that this is stress, but because of all the manipulations, I couldn't identify it as stress. So what you mentioned is very, very real.
Yeah,
Um,
I would like to, Paula, sorry
go,
for.
go, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, that is a very good point you brought in because uh, for the children's sake, you will be interacting with them not just through the messages, but physically in person. You'll be meeting your ex-partner at some point. Um, and there is too many emotions. Uh, those are going to pop up, even though we try to uh, work on those emotions. But when that person appears in front of you, all those all those emotions are going to pop up definitely. And the body, how that reacts, you have no control. That's our subconscious. And to understand that is a lot of work. We have to deal with that. uh, we cannot say about our partners how what they are going through in that situation, but it's our story. We are sharing our experiences. um, yeah, I think at some point, if I recall my interactions in person, uh, at court I met last time with my partner, I was normal because it was not, there is no physical abuse, but there is so much emotional scars that I have from that relationship. Um, I realized that I was normal, I was okay. And seeing that other partner trying to avoid or trying to hide from all those, not to face. Uh, so yeah, I was normal. I mean, it's been 3 years and still going through it. And it takes a while, it takes a long time to heal through those scars, emotionally, physically, or whatever damages has been done, it's been done. And it's going to show up, and I think it's normal. And we just have to work on it to manage those emotions, understand our body language, our body, how it reacts to. Thanks for bringing it, Raminda.
So I can tell you from a different perspective because I haven't seen my ex for a really long time, since basically we stopped living together. And I remember at the beginning, um, because we were still dealing with the divorce, still dealing with some matters. So a phone call, a text, that would make me terrified. Honestly, I was feeling sick. I remember the pain in my chest. I remember the almost panic attacks when I saw anything from him, a message that I didn't want to see, really. I would absolutely prefer just like cut any any connection, but because of the divorce and different matters, we couldn't. Um, but the mind remembers such a strong feelings. The mind remembers that. Um, and I know I was not the only one. I'm not the only one. There's many women who never seen their ex again, but any, let's say, a common friend will mention them. And that fears, that stress, that tension, it all comes back in a second. So, what is really important to ground yourself here and now, to understand that here and now you're safe. And this is what I was literally doing, thinking, okay, I'm here, I'm now, he's nowhere close, this is just a text message. I don't even have to, let's say it wasn't a call, it was just a text message. I don't have to even talk to him, but we have to remind ourselves constantly. Like I was literally talking myself through it as many times as I had to, till the moment when basically I felt safe um, wherever I was and whatever was happening. Um, yes, so that's basically, but I cannot tell from my personal experience how I would react if I saw him. I still don't know. I was asking that question to myself many times. I don't know. I know with my clients the reactions are different. There's anger, there's fear. Literally quite often there's a the first reaction is like, I just want to turn around and leave, just go far away as possible. For some of them, there are still deep feelings, and the first thought in their head is like, I still miss him, I still love him. So there's a complete mix, but definitely there are strong emotions, and I think it will pass with the time. And the only thing is how much we work on it and how soon it can pass. Because the more we work on it, the more guidance, let's say, we have from a therapist, from a coach, from somebody who can support us, the quicker we can solve those emotions inside us.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, you know what I experience, and that, now what I'm feeling. Of course, I want to avoid that person as much as possible. But at the beginning, when I decided to divorce with him and I understood what is happening with me, I threw up every time when I see him, and we're still living. So every morning, every time when I came back home. Like I lost about 50 kilos in 2 months because it was so damaging that I decided just to move out. And after that, my mind was mixed very strongly because that bad experiences. We're going to the fate, like we don't want to experience that. We want this body to go back to where it was. Like it's not such a stressful. So it's a lot of things, but um, in general, we all shared that we blocked our social media. But how you would suggest, or what you would suggest to those people who still starting wanting to look to the social media or see how is their partners, and also maybe so you can share how to put clear boundaries to your partner is you are not able to block that partner because of the divorces or because of the children or other situation.
Yeah. I think last episode we talked about revenge. I think that involves in this behavior that we are keep looking for our partners, their activities, and all, like finding some clues that we'll feel happy about if something bad happens to that person. That is the revenge emotions that we would want to see our partner to suffer. I think whoever is going through this, first of all, to work on that, maybe watch the revenge episode that we talked about to understand those emotions and focus on ourselves. Um, yeah, it's for me, for my experiences, we have to go through this if since we have the children involved, and to control our emotions. Um, it's not easy. It's not easy, and getting out of that revenge emotions. I'm keep focusing on those emotions because that is what I was going through uh, on myself. Like, how can I be more at peace? That only can help me bring my peace myself, but not looking at the other person. And every time that we are talking about putting boundaries, and that is one thing I learned, that I didn't know what our boundaries are, and not to react to any kind of messages or information that you are getting, uh, directly, indirectly, whatever. But putting boundaries is not to answer immediately, not to react, but to take a time off from that emotions, or take a pause. Take a pause. Take a pause. You don't have to respond to anything unless it is life threatening immediately. And by putting boundaries with the communications, because you already out of the relationship, so there is some physical boundaries already in place. Only thing is the emotional boundaries and the communications, how we communicate with our partners. And after the relationship breaks, it's if the children's involved, I would say that it's just a business deal. How do you talk to that person, not thinking about he or she was an ex, a partner, but rather think about, okay, now you have to deal with this situation because you have to take care of your children. And how I can think that she's just another person who is in this business still to take care of the children. I have no relationship with that partner, except that yes, we have a common ground, and to take care of the children, to take care of their children's health and children's um, anything related to children. So it's, if we put that mindset, it's not easy. I'm just saying that it's not easy, but if we take that as a business deal, because one of my coach uh, helped me with how to deal with this situation, because my ex-partner is not consider her as an ex-partner, rather consider as a uh, dealing with the situation for the kids. She's just another person in this business deal. So thinking about as your business partner, not your ex-partner, making it more professional. So the communications can be better with our ex-partners. Uh, there are a couple of these ideas that I put myself into that mindset, to not to think my ex as my ex, rather a business partner. How would I talk to a business partner when you are talking to a business partner in a more professional way? Putting those boundaries, at least I can do that from myself. Whatever the communications coming, I cannot control that, but I can answer in a more professional way. So those are the boundaries I can create from myself, and for ourselves, we can do those, create those boundaries. Any kind of thoughts, negative thoughts, communications, non-negative communications, we have control over those. I think those I applied and I'm still applying. Um, Even sometimes it does take a toll on the emotional state, but that is on my part. uh, on our part, what we can do.
And I'm sorry, Paula, I will add a little bit and then we talk. In a relationship with the divorces, I would disagree about looking at a work environment and like business partner. I would say from more, maybe it's for you very, uh, this is how it works. But for me personally, is uh, don't start or don't reply to any conversation that is not related to children. This is the number one. If it's like, because especially in a manipulative relationship, they want to start communication. Any your reply gives him like energy or gives him understanding that they are still connected with you. So this was the clear boundary for me. And this helped my therapist, my friend therapist. She said, stop any conversation, don't reply, and don't start if it's not related and it's not emergency of your kids. Because if it's emergency of that person, he is not your partner anymore. He has to start deal with his friends, his family, and all other things because this is not your case anymore. Just emergency with kids, what he cannot deal at the moment, and where you really can have to help. And I think this really helped me. And every time when I see a text message or thinking to ask him, especially at the beginning, I was asking myself why I'm doing this. It is really necessary. I really don't have anyone else to ask or to give me that answer. Like, yes, I have to have communication, but as I mentioned right now, after, yes, when I started divorces, my elder daughter was 5 and younger 3 years old. So of course we need to share information. Right now, when they are 7 and 5, I most of the time don't need to share anything with that person because like just the time when to take children and give children. And believe me, everyone who are listening, there is no necessary things that you have to talk with your ex-partner. You can live without him and you have to start from today. So this is just my experiences, what I learned. And Paula, can you share what you suggest?
Actually, I can only add to that. And you both mentioned really, really important aspects. Um, the thing you just said, you can live without that person. So many women clients, the first thing they say, I cannot live without him. And there's that, I'm sorry, you here, you talking to me, you still breathing, your heart is still pumping blood, you're doing really well, you can live without him. That's fact. That's fact. You can live without him. I think that's also a huge impact of um, pop culture, movies, romances, songs that we have that feeling that after that huge love, that big love story, we cannot live without that person. Yes, I'm sorry, we can live. My apologies for ruining somebody's vision. But what I wanted to say,
Yes, this is not a baby in your uterus that really cannot live without you. This is only one thing, like till 28 weeks, but that's
yes,
it.
exactly. The second thing is, I think many people don't realize that, but I find it extremely, extremely common that a couple is splitting, and then usually the person who was not really fair in the relationship, after the split, that person is still contacting the other person like nothing happened. They're still good morning, good night, how are you? Sending photos, what I'm eating, what I'm cooking, what I'm doing, what I've just bought. Like nothing happened. And we kind of get into that play, we get into that game. We let them to play us because what they get is attention. What they get is still that a little bit of energy. They still feel they can have some kind of control over us, and nothing really has changed for them. For the person who has been cheated, left, treated badly, that probably causes lots of stress, but that also gives that a little bit of hope, again, excitement. If there was adrenaline from the stress, from the abuse involved, again, it gives us a little bit more of that drag. It's really hard to just say no, to put those boundaries and just focus on what is really necessary. So if you have children, you only discuss matters about children. Everything else, just leave it. You don't have to. You don't owe them anything. You don't have to share your day with them. You don't have to reply to a message saying what their cat just did. Really, you're not partners anymore. You're not creating the household anymore. They have their own life, you have your own life. So it's very important to see if we're not getting trapped in that situation. And what is even worse, I've noticed it can go like that for years, really, really long time, for years. And women that I've spoken to are literally lying to themselves that this is not a big deal. We are just friends. Oh, he's now so nice to me. That's all lie. We're still looking for that a little bit of attention. And what I also found, women, especially who have been cheated and who have been in constant touch with their ex-partners, they really are waiting for them to tell them that he made a mistake. She was the love of his life. How could he? He wants her back. And if it's happening so long, I don't really think they're ever gonna hear that. And I know it's really difficult, but this is something that can be worked through. And it's amazing the moment when those women realize what is actually happening. Like they can see the whole situation from the outside, from where I can see it, and they're like, I cannot believe I let him to do it for such a long time. So boundaries are extremely important, and I know it's difficult, but you both gave amazing examples on how to set boundaries.
Yes, Paula, and thank you very much for mentioning this because I think this is what happens so much with my clients, and you just talk about that. But what I would add in those communication, usually when you go dig deeper, it doesn't matter if it is man or woman, but what is happening, especially those who are used to cheat on their partners. And if there is involved kids or there is a longer relationship, while they are having a relationship with someone else, usually it's short term, like 3, 4, 6 months, something new, they don't contact with their ex-partners. Like they are absolutely focused on that. Then something happens, relationship ended, like they get bored or something like that, and they going back to their ex-wife or ex-husband by being so nice. And usually my clients, I don't know what happened. After 3 months, he started to care about kids. He started to share everything. He started to be so nice. And like, how to tell those women that probably 90% that he just divorced with someone else or ended relationship with someone else. He is bored and you are always there, who always replies, who always like gives attention, who always has that hope, and he will put that attention on you just while he or she will find someone else. And then again, that gap of communication and what you mentioned, usually those partners are in this trap for years. And after 3 years or 4 years, they are telling me he's still coming to my home to help me sometimes when he's like good, when he's after a trip or after somewhere else, when you realize there with a clear mindset that he just had other relationship. That's why he's feeling guilty and he's coming to you uh, to give himself some like, okay, I'm a good person still. And by your acceptance of communication will gives him that understanding. So thank you, Paula. It's a little bit out of our topic, but I think it's very important for everyone to realize what is happening.
Of course, and I just wanted to quickly add that we are then very easy targets for them because they know us. They know how to get our attention back. They know what to say to get that attention, to get that little piece of home again, of understanding, whatever they need at that moment.
Yeah, Paula, because you brought up this your clients' experiences, even that actually made me realize that some of the clients that I had, like the first thing is, no, I cannot live without my partner. When that question comes, I would suggest to ask the list down or write down why you cannot live without that person. Because sometimes after a long relationship, you are what I have seen from my client's point of view, but they are so digitally, like, so in terms of like a lot of matters that they are dependent on their partner, like, oh, what is the login password for this account, that account, children's account, let's say. So they do not have any clue where is everything. So they are clueless. They don't know how the life was, where it's coming from, where someone is dependent on someone in most of the things, taking care of bills, taking care of children's account or children's health care or investment and all those. They get overwhelmed when they start to separate. What I learned is they don't know how to manage their finances, how to manage their different uh, areas where they are dependent on their partner. I think it's better to note down, list down why you cannot live with that person. What is keeping you attached? Not just the emotional side or any other kind of um, mm, deep connection with your partner, but what are the physical aspects that's keeping you tied to that partner, said that you are feeling overwhelmed.
Thank you so for sharing. And I think we talked a lot about all the triggers that partners are bringing into our life while we are having some kind of interactions. I would ask you maybe what question you should ask when you feel those emotions. This is the real work. One, Paulo, you shared that you shift your mindset to something good, not to your partner. But what else can help from your experience or from your client experience? What helps to deal with those triggers that your partner brings by coming up into your life through text, through social media, all of or face to face?
So, as I said, shifting my mind on something else, that actually works. It might sound silly at the beginning, it's a hard work, but imagine that there's that thought that is coming to your mind over and over and over again, and you want to get rid of that. You literally have to make a deal with yourself. So whenever I start thinking about it, I will start singing this song, and I will sing for the whole 1 minute or half a minute, and then you do it every time. You force yourself, and with the time it just becomes a habit. What also helped me, um, there's nothing worse after a breakup than having nothing to do. Because if you have nothing to do, you have too much time to thinking about what you don't want to think about. And we also mentioned that before. It all comes nicely together, the previous podcast with this one. You need to find something to do, something to occupy you. It's great if it's something that you feel passionate about, that you're interested in, that gets your full attention. Like, honestly, not you're just trying to do a pottery, even though you hate it and you don't really like you get your hands dirty. No, find something that you really like, and it's also gonna give you that extra boost of positive energy. And um, I have noticed really quickly, if I'm doing something I like, something that gives me that extra energy, I start thinking about other things. I start focusing on myself, because if there's one thing that makes me feel so amazing, I want to find another things and another thoughts that are going to occupy my mind and make myself feeling amazing. So it's basically like a chain. One thing leads to another one. Um, because our brain is set to stay in the negative to keep us safe, and we also mentioned that it's way much harder to shift to being positive and to shift to forgetting about something bad, because remembering about something bad for our mind also means staying safe, because it reminds you about the danger, so you stay away from the danger. So small things, um, really simple things, gym, good food, the music you like, good movie you like, really simple things. It's like a small hooks. The more of those small hooks you have, the more you're gonna stay attached to peace, to calm, and to good side of your life, and to the positive side of your brain. Because again, the mind will try to pull you back to whatever was negative in your life. Um, yeah, I would say that. I was trying to find as many good things as possible to just keep myself occupied with good. Whatever was good, and you can feel that. It's not, I didn't have to really think about it, if it's good for me or if it's not. I could easily feel that this, whatever I was doing or whatever I was thinking about, that was a good idea for me and that worked for me. And I think it might be individual. It is individual. Not everything is going to work for everyone in the same way. So it's very important to sit and think, okay, this person is doing that. Is it really going to work for me? If not, what else could I do? And also, don't try to stuck with one thing. If you don't feel it's still working after some time, it's okay to switch. You don't have to get stuck to one thing because you just started.
Yeah. Thank you, Paula, for sharing. For me, because this is a good question, how you have to overcome, right? First couple of months were struggling, trying to repeat and think through the everything up, because my relationship was long. It was 20 years of relationship. And later my mindset just shifted. Like, okay, I have a lot of time in my hand. What to do with that? Not just go in that cycle of thoughts of what went wrong, where I could have done wrong, where I could have done better. All those. Later, I realized that I have too much time. What to do? Then I started picking up things that I never done. I never had time to do. That shaped what you are talking about, that putting those hooks, that's going to keep you to the next level of your own peace and calmness and more positive energy be brought into your own space. I think that helped me a lot, what you mentioned, uh, to engage yourself in the activities and the things that you loved and never had time, because after getting out of a relationship, now you have those extra times for yourself. I think that is the biggest realizations what I had. And at that time, I had no coach, no therapist. I just applied those principles to myself to do whatever I would like to do. What makes me happy? I had to discover those myself. And I think with the help of coach and therapist, it would be much helpful. But at the same time, you have to find those answers for yourself. Nobody can give you those answers. Like you said, every situation, every things that work for me may not work for you. You had a different example, and it's not going to work for everyone, the same formula, because we are unique individuals. We have different personalities and choices. So, yes, I agree with Paula, and that is how we have to focus on ourselves to bring that positive energy.
Thank you both. And I would add a little bit because most of the time I'm working with a woman who are in an abusive relationship. And despite the fact that they block their partners, they don't communicate with them at all. They are coming to their work, they are coming to their like living place, living area, to their sport club to have connection with them. So that's why it's very important to regulate your emotional your emotions, and this regulation what you share is really helps. But after abusive relationship, it's psychological or any kind of other abuse, you have to reconnect with your body. This is where really helps some like hobbies like yoga, social dance, handcrafts, any handcrafts that you are doing, and also playing with some kind of instruments. This is the things that you have to choose and you have to do. That's why the first year, almost 2 years after divorces, I was going to pole dance because this is where you really need to connect and really need to be there. Otherwise, you will fall down from the pole. So you have to be there. So choose these type of activities because every time you have to understand when abuser is coming to your space, for you will be hard to say no because your body don't understand those emotions like I mentioned before. You're thinking that this is excitement, that this is missing that person, but really it's a fear. It's a huge stress on your body that is connected with that other mixed hormones because of your intimate life together. So that's why it's very important when you have a breakup, find something, especially after abuse, what will reconnect you with your body. This helps you to regulate your emotions and not be in such a highs when you meet that person and lows when you disconnect with that person. So thank you very much for sharing. And I would ask one question. It is really possible to forget your ex-partner?
So, if you want to go first?
Yeah, it depends, you know. Um, it depends how much damages has been done to you. But you know, forgetting is it's not possible because it's going to be there in our memories no matter what. Uh, because it's not like a hard disk, we just wipe it and restart everything. So those memories will be there. It's the way to find replacing those memories, good memories, with your future life. Memories cannot be wiped out completely, no matter what, how many years we pass through that relationship. I don't think it's possible, at least for myself, I can say that, because even if we have those good, bad memories from childhood, if we think, yeah, there are so many bad memories, bad relationship we had in past. We hardly even now, since we are trying to bring it, now it's popping out like, okay, did I have any bad relationship in past? If you put thoughts into it, then you might find it. So it's easy in a way, but how much that relationship was invested in your life, how many years of that relationship has taken away from your life, how much investment invested you were. I think that makes the difference. Of course, when the children are involved, it's definitely there is no way to forget that person at all, because no matter what, you have to have some kind of interactions at children's life, and your partner is going to be there no matter what. But replacing those bad memories with the new one, start creating new memories. So eventually we can forget those bad memories. But it's not possible entirely. I don't know. I'm not a scientist, but we are emotional human beings.
I don't really think we have to forget completely. And I think we have to distinctive two types of what we really want to forget, because about the person themselves, we don't have to forget about them, especially that if we were married or if we were in a long-term relationship, that's a huge part of our life. That person was part of our life. That person was our home, our family. We were sharing so many things with them. So you were married for 20 years. um, There's so many people who never been in a relationship longer than a year. That's a huge part of life. So as a person, I don't think we have to forget them. That's not necessity. I think what we are trying to achieve is to forget about um, the bad things that happen, to not let the past to drag behind us through our whole life and being our present. To not let that misery from the past to be present with us right now. To not remember whatever makes our body to react in the wrong way, whatever makes us feeling sad, scared, terrified, to make us lose our confidence, to make us feel like we are worth nothing. All of that, yes, let's please forget. Um, I think it's important to make sure that today is today, and what happened in the past, you cannot change that. Make it experience, make it a lesson. You don't have to completely forget the person. Just let yourself to leave that in the past. That's the thing. Let it be there. Here, today is today. Tomorrow is something you have to focus about. Think about your dreams. Just don't let that thing to drag you down.
Yes, this is what I was thinking when I wrote this question, that I don't, what I was thinking about this topic when we pick it, that we are not obsessed about our past with that person. Because at the beginning of divorce, we just thinking that our all past is connecting just with our ex-partner. And we even forget all other events, what was happening during that time with other people, with your friends, with your family, what events there was. We are starting to be such obsessed about that partner and experiences what we go through. So I think that we want not to forget that partner because this is a part of our life, but put those relationship in a memory, like about childhood. It comes up sometimes when we feel some similar emotions. It comes to our minds. We remember, we feel sad, we smile, but it's short emotions. And then we are going back to our life again. So, but at the beginning, we are going so deep in our past, so connect our past, like into our life. What you, Paula, mentioned, it's like it's always with us, like we are not living here and now. So I think this is the most important, what we want to bring and what we want to share. We cannot delete. This is not a computer. Our mind is not a computer that we can delete pictures or some folders and never found them again. So I think that this is the main thing that we wanted to share with everybody. And at the end, I read a very like quote that when you leave something in the past, you are having space for some new beginnings. Maybe you can be like as an example to others, what new beginnings that you can share started after you realized that you're really forgetting that experiences with your ex-husband, ex-wife?
I think like Paula's example, and also there is a very good example from one of the influencer is have these past memories as a baggage. Yeah, you can see that baggage if you think about those memories, and that is the baggage in the past, because in future you are going to create more new memories. And how you create, because it's about present, it's not about the future you are going to plan, think, but the present is now how we are creating memories by sharing these experiences, or having some new activities, or starting having new friends, new social mm, communities where you get involved with, and to create memories. And eventually, in past 3 years, I mean, even though it's 20 years of my relationship, but in past 3 years, I have almost forgotten a lot of the things, except that I have some legal things to take care of with my partner. But I think in past 3 years, my life has changed a lot by creating new memories, new things, new events in my life, and that is how life is going to move on. I mean, there is nothing that you can be hold on to that past and bringing that to the present to just be in that past. So these new memories is going to replace and occupy our memories and our thoughts. So that way, it's eventually happens if we don't stay in that past. Otherwise, it's not possible. If you're stuck in the past, that you are not able to create new memories, new things into your life. So an opportunity for you to experience the life for your own future, and it's an opportunity for your own growth. I think this is a great opportunity if anyone is going through. For me, yeah, it's an opportunity of another creating some good experiences for my own.
Um, I can only agree that absolutely, if you are too much in the past, you cannot build any future. It's like you cannot be at two places at the same time. You cannot be in the kitchen and in the bathroom at the same time unless the kitchen and the bathroom are in the same room. That's not happening. If you want to build something, if you want to change something, your mind has to be there. For me, a huge change was when I found my first coach. And when I started listening to her, and when I started opening my eyes and I started looking differently at myself, at my emotions, I started working on my emotions. I started noticing world working in a little bit different way than I was maybe taught. Um, and then the Jake Shetty School, then me becoming a coach, me building actually my future, because this is what I'm really focusing on when working with my clients. I'm teaching women how to take control of their life, how to build their life from now, how to build the future. Many of us, when we're going through the divorce, we have that feeling that we cannot do anything. This is all falling on us, and we just have to deal with different things, and we have to deal with legal matters and with our ex's demands and with now um, living on your own and maybe adjusting your life to being a single parent or whatever else is happening, when actually there's so many things that we can do to make our life better and decide. So imagine that there's a snow falling. There's lots of snow falling from the sky all the time. And there could be two approaches. Either you standing there with a shovel and you're constantly trying to remove that snow to somehow go through life, or just put the skis on and ski down and enjoy that snow and look at that snow as something amazing and enjoy the day. That snow is still there. It's the same snow. It's about how we approach it. Um, it's basically like squeezing the lemons. I know it might sound for somebody who is now in a very bad place, in a very sad place, like, oh yeah, she has no idea what she's talking about. I have an idea because I've been there. I've been in a very bad, very sad place, and um, life is life. There will be still difficulties happening to us. That might be not the first divorce for somebody. That might be not the last divorce for somebody, but we can actually change a lot. And if we do not let ourselves stuck in that past, we actually make ourselves space for the future, for the better future.
Yes, Paula, I agree with you because when I step out of that dark box where I saw just like black darkness, and I started to do something really bad by thinking that divorces is just one thing in my life. I still have kids, I still have work, I still have my hobbies. Like through these 3 years, I experienced so much that I didn't experience in my past 16 years with my ex-husband because I joined the Europe Union women community. I was living in Spain for a month. I 2 times I was in a show as a pole dancer, what I would never be able to do if I would be with my ex-husband. I ended tarot cards course, astrology course, G Shetty coaching school course. I started to work on my social media. I traveled so much, like never. In my last 16 years, I didn't travel so much as in these 3 years. I have so many memories with my kids and also with myself. So, when you start to focus by thinking that this is something what will happen. This is not really needs a lot of attention right now. Just a couple of things that I have to deal with, but I focus on what I want in the future. This really helped me. And what I really experiencing that people usually thinks, okay, I need to do this, and then after divorces, I will start. Or after divorces, like I will get some money and then I will do something. I was in that mindset too. But I realized that there is nothing what you have to do and just then starting. It's like it just holding you back to that past. Because when I started to let go of this mindset, because I really wasn't there, that at first I need to get divorced. And like it it sounds really like strange to some people, but to everybody, you have to understand, I was living still with my ex-husband. I was threw up every time when I see him, at least 2 times a day. And I was thinking, okay, I need to get legal divorces, then I have to move out. This was my mindset. Then I said, stop, no, I cannot do this anymore. I have to start move on from this point. I rented a place, I move out. Then I was thinking, oh, I have to do this or that, just then I can join G Shetty's coaching school, other courses. Like, don't push after divorces because you are losing your time. You are focusing on a snow, just like you mentioned. And this is not what life is. You will lose even more years if you be stuck in this, like thinking. I know that it sounds for some people, how you can say it, you don't know my situation. But in these 3 years, I talked with about 500 women who are going through divorce. And I know that they really can and they really able. And if they ask our help as a coaches, they will realize and they will see that option. So don't be afraid to ask help because you really can do some movements. You really can do some steps. You don't need to wait a couple of years or month when the divorces will end.
I can only add that I absolutely agree. Don't wait, because waiting for what? Waiting for the next year? There might be not next year. The next year might not happen for you. I know it sounds horrible, but that's the truth. But get the coach, get the therapist, get whoever can help you. But the great thing is that what we are doing now, we are sharing our experience, use our experience, learn on our experience. So what took me, let's say, 3 years, for somebody else can take only 3 months, because the process will be quicker, easier. And this is basically why I became the coach, because my road, when I look in the past, I got to a great place in my life. I'm so happy. I'm doing so many things. As you said, I mean, like I'm doing things I never thought I would be doing, and it's so great. It's such an amazing experience, and you feel so fulfilled. But it took me a while. It really took me a long, long time. So use those podcasts. Use anyone that you can learn from. Use their experience and go through that bad, sad parts faster to get to that better part, because the best and the worst thing is that the only limitation is ourselves. So it's bad because like we are the only one who are limiting ourselves, but it's great because you can work with that. You can remove those limitations fairly easily.
Very well said. And somewhere I read about it is time you wait for is the time you wasted. So I think it's our experiences are going to help someone to not to suffer those many waiting time, rather to take action.
I think that we all share that when we meet coach or when we meet therapist,
Yeah.
everything just start to move on. So if like there are so many options like mentors or people who went through the divorces, if you are not able to find a coach, just reach out to those people. It's really helping all the communities and conversations. So thank you very much. I'm really happy every time. I'm so happy that we all are here and sharing experience from different perspective. And it's so valuable to everybody. So thank you everyone who are listening. And thank you, Paula and Sue, for being here and sharing your experiences. It's a lot. Maybe you don't think right now, but it's really a lot in the long term what we are sharing here. So thank you very much.
Yes,
Thank
absolutely.
you so much.
Thank you.